Welcome to our Lakers Nation NBA Draft Podcast. I am your host, Serena Winters, and joining me is one of our senior writers and draft expert, Corey Hansford, who you guys can follow on Twitter at @TheCoreyH. He'll be helping us break down the top draft prospects and who the Lakers should draft in just a few minutes. First, I want to break down all the Lakers odds for you guys, exactly what percent chance the Lakers have landing any pick in the top 5. The NBA Draft Lottery is May 19th. That is the date where we find out whether the Lakers do land a top 5 pick or it falls out of the top 5, in which case it goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. If you're wondering why, remember the Phoenix Suns got the pick in the Steve Nash trade, and then the pick went to the 76ers in the Michael Carter-Williams trade. So now to the odds. Now what's interesting is that the Lakers actually have a higher percent chance of landing the number 1 overall pick than actually staying in that number 4 slot. They have an 11.9% chance of landing the number 1 pick. They have a 12.6% chance of landing the number 2 pick. And they have a 13.3% chance of landing the number 3 pick. So that means they have a 37.8% chance of actually moving into the top 3. Interestingly, is where the Lakers only have a 9.9% chance of actually staying in that number 4 slot. And then the Lakers have the greatest odds of that number 5 pick, and that's a 35.1% chance. The good news is that the Lakers have an 82.8% chance of keeping their pick. Of course, the bad news is that that means they still have a 17.2% chance of losing their pick. Now, the other good news is that if the Lakers do get to keep their pick, there are some great prospects in this year's draft, which is where we bring in Corey Hansford. Thanks for hopping on with us, Corey. He writes for us here at Lakers Nation, as well as over at mynbadraft.com. Really spearheads all of our NBA draft profiles over here. He's a hoops junkie, always watching college ball, and definitely knows his stuff. So we're going to pick his brain for who he thinks the Lakers should draft, depending on where their pick lies. And hey, if nothing else, by the time you finish this podcast, you should know a heck of a lot more about this year's top prospects. So let's jump right into it. Corey, the Lakers have an 11.9% chance of that number 1 pick. So if they do get it, who and why?
I think at this point it has to be Karl-Anthony Towns, the center out of Kentucky. He has so many skills that NBA teams look for in a big man these days. He's athletic. He runs the floor very well. He's a great rim protector. He's a great rebounder, and his numbers weren't great at Kentucky because of how deep the team was, and he didn't play as many minutes. But that shouldn't deter scouts from naming him the number 1 guy. I liken him similar to a LaMarcus Aldridge. He can score down low, as he really proved in the NCAA tournament. He can hit the jumper. He's a great shooter from the foul line. He just does a little bit of everything. And in these days, you can't have the slow, plodding big man. There's very few guys like that in this NBA. And Towns fits the mold and has the potential to grow into a superstar.
Okay. Well, they have a 12.6% chance at number 2. If they're getting number 2, who would you go with?
That's where it gets a little bit questionable, but with the Lakers being such a franchise that has relied on big men, I give a slight edge to Jahlil Okafor. And it's because his offensive game is so polished and so skilled that it's hard to see him not being able to come into the league and average at least 15 points and probably 8 rebounds from the second he steps out there. And while his ceiling may not be quite as high as Karl-Anthony Towns because of his lack of athleticism, he's not the best rim protector. He has a skill set similar to Al Jefferson. He's going to get you points and rebounds pretty much every night. And that's something that you need from the center position. It's something that the Lakers are really looking for.
Okay. Number 3, 13.3% chance the Lakers land that. Who are you going with?
I give a very slight edge to D'Angelo Russell if the Lakers go number 3, simply because I think he's a slightly better fit for the Lakers than Emmanuel Mudiay, because the Lakers already have Jordan Clarkson at the point guard, and Russell is more of a 2-guard, in my opinion, similar to a James Harden or Brandon Roy. He's a great shooter who's capable of setting his teammates up, but he's really more of a scorer first, and the Lakers need someone who can really get their own baskets. They struggled with guys creating their own shots and creating for others, and Russell can do both. And while he doesn't have the great athleticism can't really jump out of the building. He's more quick than he is athletic. He has the potential to develop into an absolute scoring machine at the NBA level.
Okay, I was wondering where you would put Emmanuel Mudiay, and now I'm certain it's probably at number 4. So, again, it just amazes me that the Lakers only have a 9.9% chance of actually staying in that slot. But I'm guessing you're going Mudiay?
Yeah, so you got to go Mudiay at number 4. And some say that the Lakers have him as high as number 2 on their board, only behind Towns. I think he's a little bit less of a fit because his jumper isn't quite there yet. But as far as a pure point guard, he has pretty much everything else you're looking for. He's really, really fast, 6'5", 200 pounds, strong, athletic, similar to me of a John Wall. I don't know if he'll ever develop John Wall's true passing sense in that he's leading the league in assists. But as far as the new age point guards that are big, strong, fast, athletic, can get to the basket, and can set their teammates up, Mudiay is that guy. And I'd say his potential is probably a little higher than Russell or maybe even Okafor, but his floor is a little lower and it's a little bit riskier since he played over in China and didn't play in college basketball.
You know who also likes Mudiay a lot is actually Michael Thompson, the Lakers broadcaster, and Klay Thompson's father. He was talking about him the other day and saying that a lot of scouts are saying some pretty high things right now about Mudiay. But let's go on to the number 5 pick. The Lakers have a 35.1% chance, obviously the greatest odds at landing that number 5 pick. So who are you going with?
I have to go with probably my favorite player in this entire draft, and it's Justice Winslow of Duke. He does so many of the little things that you look for, and in this age of the NBA, everyone looks for those 3-and-D type of wings, the guys who can defend and knock down jumpers. Winslow's going to defend. At the very least, I could see him being someone similar to Michael Kidd-Gilchrist of the Charlotte Hornets, that he's going to defend, he's going to lock down multiple positions, he's going to keep the team engaged, and he's going to be a leader out on the floor. He's great on-ball defense as well as help defense, helping and recovering. And his jump shot was good down the stretch for Duke last season, and that is his biggest question, is he going to be able to consistently knock down jumpers? But I think he's shown that he can, and I think he's someone who has the work ethic to continue to work on that and improve his shooting. And I think slightly over a couple of other guys, there'll be many guys in play at number 5. I think Winslow would have the edge because he does so many of those little things.
Okay. I'll tell you what, man, it's definitely an exciting draft class. I know I absolutely cannot wait until May 19th. I'm sure you can't, and I'm sure that anybody listening right now really can't wait. So we have to know whether or not the Lakers get that top 5. So I want to leave you guys with actually some NBA draft history over the past 25 years of teams that have been slotted in at number 4, because I know you and I, Corey, were talking about it. We found it very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking back since 1990. So in the past 25 years of teams that are in the number 4 slot, which is where the Lakers are, only one time has a team actually stayed in that number 4 slot. 11 times the pick has fallen to that number 5. 8 times they've moved into the top 3. And sadly, 5 times in the last 25 years, a team in the number 4 slot has fallen out of the top 5. And the last time that's happened, 2011. So let's keep our fingers crossed that does not happen. All right, guys, if you want to hear more podcasts like this, hit the like button and write something in our comment section. And make sure to check out our draft page on LakersNation.com. I know Corey contributes a lot to that. We've got videos, we've got important dates. Make sure to follow Corey on Twitter at TheCoreyH. That's TheCoreyH. And I challenge you guys to send some sports trivia or some sports questions Corey's way. He loves to banter back and forth with fans on Twitter. And follow myself at Serena Winters, and thanks for listening.